Okay, Baruch Hashem, welcome back. We're going to continue in Hilchot Shabbat. Today we're going to do Malacha Borer Part 3. And tonight's shir is Le'ili Nishmat
צייה בת לוי,
Tzia Bat Levi,
לוי, וגם
וגם
עמרם בן לוי.
וגם עמרם בן לוי. ונשמות שגו לחי לחי בגן עדן, וגם, like 1 second, and then the Neshama should have an aliyah. We're also learning tonight with what Shalema, Alexander Sasha, Ben Raya, which is a complete recovery, Bikar. Okay, and like I said, we are always learning about Tzlachas Klal Yisrael. The Klal Yisrael, as you can see many Yeshuot, we should see the Gula Shalema. Okay, where are we holding Abotai? All those beautiful introductions. We are holding in right, we're holding on page 35. Page 35. Okay, so let's make a quick review where we're holding right now in Borer. So the first thing that we talk about Borer is when you have a mixture of things, you cannot remove on Shabbat what you don't want from what you do want. You have to take what you want, right? You have to take the ochel, and you have to take it with your hand. Hand means extension, fork, knife, and spoon. And you have to do it for immediate use. Immediate use can include a half hour before the seudah. Okay, this is everything that we saw first year. In the second year, we saw that borer also applies to non-food items. For example, if I have kids playing a lot of toys and all the toys got mixed up, now I want to separate them, it's going to be a issue of borer on Shabbat. Okay, we said that it applies to non-food items. It could apply to books, maybe. It could apply to other things. We said if it's very big and noticeable, right? That was the big thing that we talked about last week. That was the Aruch HaShulchan. That was that maybe something is very noticeable, then maybe it's not a mixture. Okay, if I have two big encyclopedic books, right? Or I have one big book and I have one very small book. That's not a mixture. Mixture has to be that it's hard to tell. Okay, that was the Aruch HaShulchan from last week. We also talked about that one way to get rid of a mixture, right, is to make it no longer a mixture, like Gabriel said, is you spread it out, right? Although according to Chamovadia, forks, spoons, and knives are not considered a mixture because they're all after you clean them, right? And you want to put them away. It's not an issue of putting them away because you don't want any of them. You don't not want any of them. So it's not like there's a mixture there, and you can put them away normally. But others say it still is a mixture. And the Al said because it's nicker, it's very recognizable, which is a fork, knife, and a spoon. But others say it's still a mixture. So according to others say it's still a mixture. How do you get rid of the mixture? You throw all the nice forks and spoons on the table, or if you have all the toys and you want to separate them, throw them all out so they're far apart from each other. And now there's no longer a mixture. You can separate them. That's everything we learned pretty much in a nutshell up until today. Now we're going to start a third section.
By food, we have a timing, half hour before.
It's considered miyad, yeah.
But things like the toys or other things, what is the time? When you are allowed to?
I want to play the game now. Now I want to play Monopoly, right? Or let's get away from it. I want to play Trouble. I want to play Trouble on Shabbos. The kids mixed it up with everything else. Okay? So if I want to play it now, that's miyad. I can take it now and remove it.
What about the
kids?
And
that's the ochel mitoch v'sahol because that's the one I want.
The kids, they have no timing. They want to play anytime they want.
Okay, the kids are kids. I'm talking about you, me, and someone who has the chiyuv of Hilchot Shabbat.
You're separating who's not edible. You're taking out
the peel.
The peel.
We're going to get into that today.
And this guy.
We're going to get into that today. So removing the stem, if it would be an issue, it wouldn't be borer. It would be the issue of dash. And it's not dash because the dash is only what's done outside the field. If it comes to the table with the stem, it's no longer an issue of dash over there, and you're allowed to remove the stem from the cherry. That's not a problem. Okay, with peel, we're going to get into first item on the table today on page 35. Removing a solid item from a liquid. Okay, specific the case here is someone has a cup of wine or a cup of or a bowl of soup, and a fly fell inside the soup, or the fly fell inside the wine. I want to now remove the fly from the soup or from the wine. I'm removing what I do not want. So that's an issue of borer. Or is there an issue of borer?
You take it together with a good thing.
Okay, so you're saying the Taz. Hold on. So the first source we have on page 35, source number 22. Shailot Chuvot the Hamari Taz. And he says as follows. Hatam, the reason Shnir Lanyos Dati, to my knowledge, La Hatir Bitzira Dafka, Havi Mishum the En Derech Mishamir Bika. The Habalach Shayach Mishamir, Uyavesh Borer. Aval En Borer Belach, Ve'en Mishamir Beyavesh. Okay? She says a very interesting thing. He says, when it comes to separating or to do borer, right? Borer means separating by liquids, says the Maharitats that only applies via filtering. When you're filtering something through a cloth, through a strainer, that's how you do borer by liquids, right? Removing something from a liquid is not borer, because it's not how you separate when it comes to liquids. Liquids get separated via straining, via filtering. Yeah, is according to this, it's not going to be an issue because I'm just pulling out something big. Okay, so the only time you have borer, removing one from a mixture, it's when it's dry stuff, not a liquid. Liquid, the issue is filtering, not removing something from the liquid. That's the maritats. Okay.
You don't like onions. You want to take out the onions.
So we're going to see what he's saying right now. Seems yes, but we're going to see how far do we actually go with that.
Right.
The Chemdet Yamim, he wants to explain this as well. And he wants to give an additional idea or somewhat of a further idea of the Maharitats. And he wants to say as follows on page 36 on the top. Delo shayach berira el bama shetzarich lepashpesh velivror. Aval davar shetzaf lemala kevar borer ve'en ze borer. Kevar barur ve'en ze borer. What he means is that if you have something on the top of the liquid, well, that means it's not mixed anymore. Okay? What we can say, it's recognizable. It's not a mixture. It's recognizable. There's a fly sitting on top. It's distinct. It's nikar.
Yeah, but you are borer.
No. Borer is when it's a mixture. And you're searching to get it out. Like you had the Rabbi David's case of the different pistachios, okay? Some are nicer than the others, different styles, different this. I have to now go through the mixture to pull out the one I want or the one I don't want, right? Here, I have a bowl of soup, and right on the top, I see it. And I just want to take out the fly. I have the cup of wine. It's right on the top. I take it out. It says the Hamdat Yamim. Therefore, it shouldn't be considered borer. Okay? So two ideas here. Two ideas that really come hand in hand. The Maharitats, who says there is no borer, separating borer one from the other by liquid. That's only filtering is the issue by liquids. B, even if there was, this is so nikar, it's so recognizable that it's not a borer issue. Now, the Taz, on the other hand, and this is what Rabbi Haim was saying, the Taz is saying, no, there is still an issue of borer. Yesh isuk shneibim zevuvim lekais shleyoytzi azuvim levadan min hakais to have a like kibarer. Silas, as you're removing the psolet, el yikach min hamashke kitzat imohem. Right? So says the Taz, like Rabbi Chaim wanted to say in the beginning. I mean, what that there is borer in liquids, so take some of the liquid with the fly, and this way you're not removing just the psolet, you're removing the ochel as well, and that would not be a problem. Okay, what is the Hazon Ovadia? So here, let's take a look of Chacham Ovadia in source 25, and he says as follows: Kais yain shnafol boizvuv otzira mutar lahasiro. You're allowed to remove it beyado or al yedei kapit, or even with a spoon. Remember, the spoon and the hand is equal. Ki ein derech berera balach. There is no borer by liquid. Okay. El mishamer belach, only filtering by liquids and not removing something from there. Okay, there's nothing to be concerned about. He says some disagree and prohibit removing the fly alone, and they say take some of the liquid with it. Who's that? That's the Taz, right? And he says the toiv lahachmer kisvara shniyam Okay, so in the Chazon of Vadia, he is going with the Maharitats, and he's saying that what? That there is no borer by liquids. Therefore, you can take out what you want from the liquid. It won't be considered a problem. Before we move on, I want to take a look at Chacham Yitzchak Yosef.
I have my compote with fruit.
Uh-huh.
Only the compote, not the fruit. Can I remove the fruit with the palonic? Nobody think.
Yeah.
Yes, and then pour the compote, the water into a pitcher.
So I want to remove the fruits from the liquid.
Yes.
I want the liquid. I don't want the fruits.
Yes.
Okay.
I cannot use the pitcher.
So he's saying, if right now at this point, if you really hold of this, that by liquid there is no borer, it's just filtering. So if I'm removing it, it's not an issue, according to this understanding at the moment. I want to take a look at the Yalkut Yosef outside of the Tzurba for a moment, because I want to see how Yitzchak Yosef records this halacha. So here I'm reading to you from Chacham Yitzchak Yosef's and the Yisrael Bitan's version of it. So let's take a look over here. And he writes as follows. If a fly falls into a cup, you can remove it. No issue about it. Because the solid object sitting in a liquid is not considered a mixture. See, he's using a different svara over here. Okay? He's saying it's not considered a mixture. Behind the dvar gush, hanimsa b'tav davar v'nikar mipnei atzmo. It is being recognized by itself. And then he says, "Avleina kavana should be called davar lach ein berira." It's not to say that everything by liquid is not bora. Okay, I'm reading it's like Yosef, the Yalkut Joseph over here. And he's not using this Chazon Avadia's sheet over here that's saying there's only filtering by liquids. He says since it's nicker, the fly is recognizable, so it's not part of the mixture. Okay, and then he writes a toiv la'achmer and take out the fly with some of the liquid. Okay, but the main point I want to take out from the Yalkut Yosef was that he's saying the second reason, the Chemdat Yamim's reason, or you can say they're really one and the same reason. But it seems like the two separate reasons. They're both going into different recognition.
According to them, an oil, let's say you have a soup.
Right.
You have the oil is on the top.
Yeah.
And the soup is underneath.
Yeah.
Now, if you take the oil, there's no problem.
Yep. 100%. Yep. 100%.
Because it's on the top, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. It's not a mixture. Okay. It's not a mixture. Listen to this one. So here in the laws of Shabbat, he writes, one may pour out the liquid that is found on top of the yogurt. When you open the yogurt, something have that liquid on it, you can pour it out. Since the liquid is not considered mixed with the yogurt, you can take it out. It's not considered a mixture. It separates. It's nikar. It's recognizable. Okay, it's distinct. Okay. Now, let's take a look at the next one, and then we're going to come back to your compote issue. Okay. So take a look at Shvitat Shabbat. Okay. He takes the taz and he writes, fly falls into a cup. Don't remove just the fly, remove some of the liquid with it. And he says this is true, especially for flies. Why? Since sometimes they sink and they're mixed in the liquid. Okay? Sometimes it's not recognizable, was basically what he's saying. Sometimes it mixes and goes inside. But large items that are mixed, that are recognizable, you got a big piece of meat, you got some big vegetables, right? You got different stuff in there. Then there is no ister of barer because they're very recognizable. Okay? Here I'm going to read now from the laws of Shabbat. And he says very similarly. And now you can compare this to your compote. Okay? Here you go. One who wants the broth from the soup, right? He just wants the liquid. May even hold the vegetables down with a spoon or ladle in order to get only to the broth. Since the vegetables are considered a separate entity and large pieces are not considered to mix up with the soup. Okay? So everyone seems to say if you have large pieces in the soup, large pieces, whatever it is, that's nikar. It's not an issue of boreh. There's no mixture there. However, smaller pieces of vegetables that cannot be easily removed from the soup can be considered mixed with the soup and subject to boreh. Okay? Therefore, your case of the onions. So the question is, how is the onion in the soup? If someone puts the onion whole into the soup, then it's very recognizable. I can remove the onion. It's big. But if someone cuts up the onions and now it's in small pieces, well, then no longer can it be considered distinct. It's a mixture. Now you got to follow the rules of Borer. There is a mixture there.
Well,
So the same idea would apply for the compot. If it's big enough pieces that are really recognizable, then I can say there's no issue of Borer here because they're all recognizable. But if they cut it up very finely in the small pieces now, and it could be considered a mixture,
but we
it will be an issue.
say already in liquid, it's only borer with the straining.
That's what I'm trying to show you, that the Yalkut Yosef, that
Exactly.
the
why
Chayolamim,
why we
they're
have to
not
change
going with
now?
this.
Why
They're
we have
not
to
going with
change
this.
now?
They're not going with this idea there's only mishamer, only straining by liquids. They're all saying it has to go with nikar. Is it recognizable or not?
So and I'll smoke.
No, for the straining. So we don't say just what we say. We say, is it recognizable or not? Is it a mixture or not? That's what you want to see by the case of liquids.
How big is the big?
Big enough that it's big, meaning that it's it's a piece.
How small is it?
Small that it looks like a mixture. Something that can get mixed up and get lost inside.
For him, everything is small. There's no big for him.
Okay, fine. So here we have a clear now. We have a clear, okay? Biggish, that it means, and it's true, it's subject to the person, really. It's subject to the person's view. Is it big and recognizable, or is it small or not? Now, some of them are not going to be subject to person's view. Some of them it's very small. Some of them are very big. You cannot say it's small if it's big, and you can't say it's big if it's small. But in the middle, there will be some gray area that will depend into your subjective view of what you're viewing. Okay. Another case here in the Ochot Shabbat, he brings, what about the pickle in pickle juice, right? So you have a can.
That's very much recognizable.
Oh, so he's saying very good. They're not defined as being a mixture because the pickle is recognizable. It's not considered a mixture there. So you can pour out the juice, right? Separate, take away the solid from the ochel. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't make a difference because it's not an issue of there's no mixture there because it's recognizable. Okay.
You want to take out the water?
Is the water on top of the tuna?
No.
If- If it's not recognizable, then you can't take it out like that. If it's laying on the top as a separate layer, then that you can definitely pour out.
As you said before, with the shamanet, with the yogurt, just pour it.
What's on top of it? Yes.
So in the tuna, it's underneath. So you just pour it also. It's gonna come by itself.
But the filtering is the problem.
Canned tuna also. It's the tuna
You wanna
is
squeeze
inside
out.
the water.
You want to squeeze out
You don't-
the liquid from the tuna.
You don't
No,
need to
just-
squeeze. You just do like this, and all
Okay.
the water goes
I don't know
down.
about this tuna. We'll have to get back to the tuna. Okay. Example is or cork or a bottle that fell into the bottle, right? A cap where the cork
Yeah.
fall in. So that's nikar. It's not a mixture there. You can definitely take it away. Okay, fine. That's all these cases. And then someone mentioned about a tea bag. Okay, so the next page, 38, talks about the tea bag. So removing the tea bag, right? You don't want the tea bag there. The tea bag is the solid. The tea bag also is somewhat filtering, it's straining it, right? The liquid. But the truth is, you're just taking out the tea bag to get rid of it. So you're just taking out to get rid of it and throw it out, not a problem. The problem would be if you're hanging it over the cup and you're trying to get some of the liquid back from it, that would be an issue.
I'm not squeezing it, just hanging it.
Still, you're now straining. You're now filtering
So just take it out. Don't
right.
hang it.
Take it out, throw it out. That's it. Don't hang it over the cup. Hanging over the cup might be an issue for it.
No, it's good. Using this guy's no problem.
It's taking it out and putting it in a separate cup, an empty cup, and then reusing it. Yeah, reusing it shouldn't be a problem.
People take it out with spoon.
Right, because what they're trying to do is take out some of the liquid
That's Ashkenazi.
with the what you don't want, with the soda, right? With what you don't want. Would be the taz and stuff. But even according to Ashkenazim, or Shabbat Ashkenaz, he says, yeah, you wouldn't need to do that. Also, it's not a keli for borer, right? We said there's an issue of it's a keli that's borer. This is not a keli for borer. It's a tea bag. Happens to be that it's straining and doing something like that. But in the end, you just pull it out and throw it out. Okay, and put it away. All right. Now we come to the Big Gabriel asked when we started the class. And his question was, you have a peel. Okay? You have the peel of the fruit. You have the tangerine. You have the banana. You have peel.
This is the derech ichuno. This is how you eat it.
This is how you eat it.
Yeah.
There's going to be another an
You
additional.
can't just take a bite.
Okay, so when you're saying this is derech chil, but you're saying that it's still borer, right?
Huh?
It's still an issue of borer. It's just derech chil, so I can get to my food that way, right? But we're going to see there's another day as well, that some fruits do not have an issue of borer at all, and you can peel hours before, and it's not an issue of borer. Let's go through the sugya and come out with halacha l'maaseh in fruits and peeling them on Shabbat. Okay. First thing, is there an issue of borer, of peels? So the Gemara Masechet Beitza tells us, one who peels grains of barley may peel them one by one. This is for maaser, when you become obligated to maaser. He peels a lot, he's obligated to maaser. Rabbi Lazar said the same halacha applies to Shabbat, the Shabbat, that what? You should peel them one by one, not all together. Then the Gemara said, but 1 second, there was 2 rabbis and their wives would prepare for them a whole bunch of barley, peel them and as a whole group, and then give it to them. So why are you saying just one by one? Lamai said, what do we see? That peeling barley, well, apparently they peel barley. Grains of barley.
The big one.
The grains of barley.
Just the big one. The big one.
Well, when you look at barley, we're not looking at barley. We're looking at processed barley that's in a bag. Okay, we're talking about barley that comes from the field. Okay, and they have to peel something from there. Okay, so apparently the Gemara is saying you can do it on Shabbat, whether you can do many at one time or you can do one at a time, but you could. So it doesn't seem to be an issue of borer by peeling.
It's a muktzeh. Well, you
What do you
gonna
mean?
eat it
Getting to my food, yeah, I'm eating it like that.
as is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, why not? Okay, so Rabbeinu Chananel writes. Look at Rabbeinu Chananel in the middle. Dash is done in the field. So anything that is done in the field, you can't do at home. But if something that's left to the house, then it's not considered dash.
Raw barley.
Nimsa. Look at the word it says nimsa. Nimsa zayir v'habayir v'maraket kulam ha'avirin psalos from the mixture ba'oichel ve'enu mechuberes, and it's not connected. All right. Ve'enu kegon klipa shetzricha pirak or kegon aparurus. Okay. Shetzarich nipotz el muberes bilvad. So says the Rabbeinu Chananel a very interesting idea when it comes to borer. The only time borer applies is when it's not attached to it. When it's not attached to it, it has to be a mixture.
The peel is not the thing.
That's what he's saying, right? It's a klipa, it's a peel.
That's it.
Then it's not considered borer according to Rabbeinu Hananel. You hear this, Rabotai? Tzion, you hear? According to Rabbeinu Hananel, the only time you have borer if it's a mixture that's separate from each other. But if it's an attached item, there's no borer there.
Right.
That's what Rabbeinu Hananel says. Okay? And that seems to be from our Gemara as well.
This is also Rabbi Ovadia says.
We're going to get there. Hold on. The Yerushalmi. This is the Yerushalmi. There's a Yerushalmi that throws things off. Okay? There's a Yerushalmi that throws things off. The Yerushalmi writes, there are those who grind garlic. Okay? They take a head of garlic and they grind it. When they're grinding it, they're chayiv because of dash, okay, of removing. And then when they take away the peels, they're chayiv for borer. So the Yerushalmi says, removing a peel, you are chayiv borer.
How you grind garlic?
I'm not sure what they're doing. They're taking garlic and they're grinding it.
Why not?
And that's dash, says the Gemara Yerushalmi. And then it says removing peels is borer. So 1 second. We have our Babli that says that you can take off peels. And Rabbeinu Chananel says peels not considered borer. Then you have a Yerushalmi that says taking peels of a garlic is borer. So which one is it? What do we look at? Usually in halacha, if you have Yerushalmi and a Babli, we're going with the Babli, right? Or we'll try to share the Yerushalmi's not arguing with the Babli. But what do we actually do?
As you said before, if it's the book, if it's attached to the prey, it's okay.
Right, that's Rabbeinu Chananel. But look at the Smag. The Smag writes that, yeah, the Yerushalmi says that if peeling garlic is an issue, but ein lasso the kliv shumim mitzaylim le'ochel le'alter. But if you're eating it right away, that's okay. The Yerushalmi loy mari b'kol of le'ochel le'alter v'chein aser. When the Yerushalmi says you can't peel garlic, it's because you're not eating it right away. If you're going to eat it right away, then it's okay to peel a garlic. How does that help? It's still taking away the psolet from the ochel, not the ochel when we talk psolet.
Because it's food.
Because it's derech achila. Fine, we'll get to that later. But at this point, the smag says, really there is an issue of borer on garlic. There's an issue of borer on peels. It just happens to be, if you're going to eat it right away, then that's okay. Okay? Now, the beer halacha, and he writes that
If you're saying the barley you can eat, the garlic is the same thing. Barley and garlic is the same thing. To me, it's the same thing.
go barley and garlic.
Barley and garlic.
Yeah.
So if barley is okay, garlic is okay too.
Right. Okay, so let's see. So says the Beer Halacha in source 34 on page 41. He writes, very interesting. Lapella al Rambam. The Rambam doesn't bring this Yerushalmi at all. Yerushalmi doesn't mention this Yerushalmi at all, that it's also to peel garlic and because of borer. He doesn't bring it, right? He says, and we're not the words for the smag. Another Rishonim that brings this Yerushalmi, we would have just omitted the Yerushalmi, right, and said that the Babli is arguing with the Yerushalmi, and that's what we just said, and we've gone with the Babli. There's some Rishonim that bring this Yerushalmi, but really, the Beer Halacha is like, why are we doing this? The Babli, the Koilev Pater Mishon de Malachas Machshavas Asar Torah Lo Havi Al Zeh Shem Malacha Klau. It's not considered malacha at all, right? That's what he wants to say. Says the Beer Halacha that really we shouldn't follow Yerushalmi. It should just be the Babli. There's no issue with peeling a fruit or whatever it is on Shabbat. But Umaisa, there is this the smag, and the Ramah brings down halacha like that as well. Aser liklev shumim mitzalem kishkarlo planiach of laachli alter shari. That only time you're allowed to peel garlics and onions and stuff like this is only if you're going to eat it right away.
What is the other way?
Right away.
Half hour?
Right. For us, half hour. For them, as long as before the Suda. Okay? Now, the Aruch HaShulchan says a beautiful piece. The Aruch HaShulchan wants to say that everyone is understanding this Yerushalmi wrong. Okay? Everyone understood the Yerushalmi that peeling garlic is asur, right? And only if he's doing it right away. Says the Aruch HaShulchan, you're reading the phrase in the Yerushalmi wrong. The way you're supposed to read the Yerushalmi is as follows. If you're grinding garlic, right? You're grinding garlic with its peel, okay? A full garlic, so first you mechayev dash. And then, now that the garlic is already ground, it's ground up, now you want to come into this mixture of a ground up garlic that has peels all over it. And now you want to remove the peels from this ground up garlic. That's where the borer is. It's not peeling the garlic that's an issue of borer. It's once you grounded it, right? You grinded it up, and now you have the food with the peel, and now you want to remove the peel. That's the borer issue. Says the Aruch HaShulchan. Well, that's what they did. That's the case. It's just, he says, "Hahein the shachat tuma kad nevar reisha mishum dach kad nevar mitlibasa mishum bayer." He's reading it as one case. Up until now, we're reading it as two separate cases. Grinding it is dash, and peeling it is bar. He says it's one case. They're grinding it, and now they're removing the peels. That's where there's a case of bora. Because really, bora doesn't exist on peels. So he's saying now there's a mixture there. He's grinding all this garlic and has all these peels and all this garlic there. Now he wants to remove the peels. That's the bora.
So grinding, he said, it's crashing or grinding? Well, what is it? I don't understand how you can grind garlic.
I don't understand.
He takes many cloves of garlic. Look at near the line. Takes many garlics, and he grinds them. He takes them all and he starts grinding them all down. So now he has garlic and he has garlic peels mixed up. That's the issue part. Okay.
He's making food for tomorrow also. We are in Shabbat.
Um,
Shabbat is supposed to be only for Shabbat.
so Lamaisa, the Aruch HaShulchan seems to be going to Rabbeinu Hananu that peeling is not an issue.
Yeah.
Now, Chacham Ovadia, let's take a look at Chacham Ovadia. And Chazon Ovadia, Chacham Ovadia says a very Yisodik halach over here. And he says, Hakolev tepuchem, tepuchei zahav, ashkaliot, or milpafon, shu'in, person who is peeling apples, oranges, grapefruit, cucumbers, or zucchini. Bevadai, the loy shaykh bo iser bar. There is no bar. Not by apples, not by oranges, not by grapefruits, cucumbers, zucchini. Why? Kivon shahat klipa, muchuberet bo mamash. The peel is directly on the fruit. It's directly on the fruit. The katvur Rabbeinu Hananel says there Rabbeinu Hananel, and the Mahari from Barcelona, and the Aruch, and the Meiri. The lo shayach b'reira bekach. There is no border when it comes to a fruit that its peel is attached to it. So coming back to the Rabbeinu Hananel, like the Aruch HaShulchan, like those who want to say that if the peel is attached to the fruit, then it's one item. There is no mixture. There is no borer. So I can remove the peel as I please. Okay? Take it outside a moment from this tzurba for a moment just to see the
we don't have
halacha.
a problem with the garlic.
Well, let's take a look over here. He writes as follows. Now, the clove and the garlic and the onion and the pomegranate, right, Rabbi David, and the pomegranate, you can peel them even with a knife, but as long as you're doing it immediately. Okay? Why? Because it's not completely attached. It's not like the apple and the apple peel. It's
Pomegranate?
Yeah, pomegranate, everything is loose.
it's loose.
Open everything.
It's loose. It's not attached.
Inside the
Okay?
No,
Same
it's-
thing with the peel of a clove, peel of a garlic, a peel of an onion. It's not attached. Not mechuberet.
Not like apple.
There's layers there. There's different things going on.
It's attached.
That's attached.
Who said it's attached?
He said it's attached. It's an orange.
You cut over here and everything comes out.
But it's right now attached. The issue of the garlic, it's not attached. The onion is not attached. Not mechuberet. This is connected. It's not loose.
So
Between this and the food, there is another peel inside.
What if the garlic has
The skin around the garlic, right? That white thing is around there. No, it's not. It's loosish.
has a few layers.
It's loosish.
Has a few layers.
Like an onion, like an onion,
Yeah.
onion cover.
It's attached. It's attached. Sure.
The loose part, onion.
The
The
outside
outside.
is not, but the inside.
Right, but you cannot peel them earlier because it's considered borer over there because the peel is loose. What he says. But when it comes to what we said, the fruits like pears, apples, cucumbers, whose peels are bonded to the fruit inside. There's a bond. They're very connected. It's like a glue between them. Okay? That is connected. That is not an issue of peeling.
So is the Torah tells you certain fruit or
Right.
vegetable don't eat in Shabbat?
No, you can eat it. You have to follow the halachas of borer.
What do you mean?
You have to do the altar. You have to do it right away.
How
You have to do it miyad, and do it right away. Now-
is miyad?
now-
Stopper?
Now, I am taking the psolet away from the ochel, but it's the derech achila. It's the only way to get to the food. That's why it's mutter, but it has to be right away. That's to be yad, right? But when it comes to other items like the apple is no issue of butter. I can cut it tonight for tomorrow, even if I'm not eating it. I
You know
can
what?
take my banana and unpeel it tonight and have it tomorrow sudah shishi. Not an issue
But you know
because
what?
there's no butter there.
You know what? The apple is worse. You know why it's worse? Because you can eat it without peeling the
Oh,
thing.
so then
The Torah can
then it's
tell
even
you.
easier. There's no
So-
more merchai. It's even
so-
easier because then
no.
it's not considered a peel.
So the
I'm,
Torah
am, I,
tells
am I allowed to cut an apple in different sizes?
So
I'm allowed
the-
to chop it up so I
the
can take it
Torah
with the peel.
tells you
on.
don't peel it.
Rabotai.
Peel it like this.
Okay. Anything that's bonded, okay? Oranges, apples, pears, cucumbers, zucchini. It's when the peel is attached to the fruit. When the peel is a little bit loosish, from the fruit or the vegetable, then there's an issue of borer. Okay, so garlic, onion, pomegranate, walnuts, almonds that come in their shells. Okay, the reddish skin of the peanuts, right? You want to remove that also. That's considered loosish, and therefore you can only do it if you're going to do it right beforehand. Okay, but these items that are bonded is not a problem. Okay. It is connected, but if you think about the peel is not directly connected to the onion itself. It's a loosish peel. It's not bonded to the fruit.
Layers. Still.
You don't need knife to peel like the way you do it with apple. You just peel it by hand.
And it's not completely stuck to the fruit. You understand? The banana peel is directly onto the fruit, right? The apple peel is directly onto the fruit. Mechuberet. When it's mechuberet, there's no borer. But if it's not directly connected, then there is borer. Okay, so he makes a fine distinction. Lamaisa, it could be hard, right? And that's why I was asking, tell me exactly what's on the list, right? Because it could be hard to differentiate what could be considered mekuberet or not. But it seems to be that something's bonded to the fruit. The peel is like this to the fruit. It might even be easy to remove it, but as long as it's bonded, like the banana, right? It's directly onto the fruit. It's easy to remove it, but since it's directly on the fruit, it's no issue of borer there. I can do it the night of Shabbat, which will actually the next day. Is no issue of borer. Okay.
That means when you do it in advance, you're not in.
Well, also, do I need to do it biyad, or I can do it with something else, right? Right? Can I do it with the peeler? This would be an issue, right? This would be the anafka there. Okay. Let's take a look. So Rabbi Chaim talked about 1 second. Oh, so the Bir Halacha asks a question. He says, why am I allowed to remove the peel? The peel is the psolet, right? I thought usually take the ochel, not the psolet. So he says it's considered what's called derech achila. There's no other way to get to the food. I want to eat the item, right? I want to eat the walnut. Right?
Don't need it in Shabbat.
What do you mean? Don't eat it. Only in Shabbat. I gotta eat it in Shabbat, right? So therefore, it's not considered doing borer. It's considered I'm getting to my food. Okay.
You can't cook an omelet on Shabbat.
Correct. But you could do this to get to your food. But near the keeping the afshir beinin acher b'derech chilasa b'kach, and the issue is that it's a derech achil b'kach. It's considered the way I eat it, meaning sometimes at certain foods you got to do something to get to the food, right? You have a yogurt, you got to open the cover to get to the yogurt. There's a process to get to the food. All right, so it's part of the eating process. That's what he seems to be saying. He says the Magen Abraham. It would follow also that peeling apples for later is also forbidden. If you go ahead with the Ramah and the Smag and say that any peeling is an issue, right? So even apples. The Pri Megadim says, why apples? People eat apples with the peels, so maybe it should be okay because it's not considered psolet. It's considered what people eat. They said, maybe you didn't know that most people eat the peels. But the Moshe says no. Maybe the fact that you're peeling the apple itself shows you that you don't want that peel. Okay,
No, piece of meat of the apple is on the peel. You not remove it.
You say you're taking some of the ochal with the risotto. Okay, I hear you. I wonder there are some people that are professional peelers. They take just the peel.
They can.
No,
It's impossible.
it's impossible. I don't know. I'm asking.
No, it's impossible.
I'm not a professional peeler, so I don't know what I'm saying. All right, fine. So that deals with that issue. So for peeling, we saw for us, Sephardim, it really depends on the fruit item. If it's bonded well with the fruit, there's no issue of bar. If it's loosely bonded, right, then it'll be an issue of bar, and it can be done, but it has to be miyad. Now we're going to come to another issue, is what about bones? Fish bones. Okay? I want to eat my fish. And I don't want to eat the bone in the fish. Right? This used to be in the old days when they used to give carp and other types of fish like that on Shabbat. Now everybody just gives salmon, already boneless, skinless, right? And there's no issue with anything. But let's say I'm going to my grandma's house and she's making the traditional Bukharian fish with the chalpak right on the side and everything's there. Yeah.
More than the salmon. In other words, it's going to happen.
The seven goes around without bones, right? So, what's the issue here? The bone is what? The bone is solid. I don't want it. It's the garbage. I want to eat the fish. But I don't want to be playing around with my fish with the bones. I want to remove the bones before I eat it, which means I'm taking solid from the ochel, which is an issue of borer. Okay, is that an issue of borer or not? Can we do it? Let's take a look. So the Bir Halacha writes, he writes that there's a custom at large meals on Shabbat to tear open the fish from its back and remove the backbone in the middle. And he says, you got to be careful, right? The dudes on Shabbos, it's borer. Solid, mitoch ochel, the chayiv. I feel the altar, even to do it right away. You can't do it.
Serving plate.
Yeah, apparently they used to serve fish on Shabbat, came to the table, they cut open the spine right there on the thing and pull it out. He says, you can't do it on Shabbat, right? He said, what should you do? That you should take it by eating, right? Hold the bone that has some meat in it, eat from it, and throw it out, right? You should eat it off the bone, basically. Take the ochel, we talk solid.
But when you open it, you eat this side, and then this side bone is covering. So when you open it and eat it further.
So he's saying, don't. What they used to do is take the fish, bring it to the table, pull out its bones, like take out the spine, and now eat it. Can't do that. He says.
No, you open the part, right? It's two parts now. So this is with the bone, this without. So you peel it open, eat it. I don't know.
Right, so let's take a look. Now he writes to the Bir Halacha. He says, "The truth is, people are not careful about this because everywhere you go, people are going and pulling out bones from the fish. Right? They are taking it out. So he says,
On their plate or on the serving plate?
he's talking about the serving tray right now, but the same would apply to the plate. Same would apply to the plate.
On your plate, maybe it's derech achila.
So let's see. So he says as follows. The result of the discussion, I heard some Mikol, he says that the actual time of eating, we certainly cannot object to one who's lenient and pulls away the bones from the meat, right? Perhaps like Rabbi Agadi is saying, it is a derech achil, that's the way I eat, so I that's the proper way of eating, so I'm going to remove the bones while I'm eating. But even preparing eating in this manner is considered the way of eating according to the Ramah. If one plans to eat them immediately, but one must be very careful preparing this for later. He says only if these bones have meat on it. If the bones have no meat on them, then of course you can't sort them out. Right now, there's no reason to touch them. The Chazon Ish, by the way, on the next page in 46, he's not happy with this Bir Halacha of the Mishnah Berurah, meaning the Mishnah Berurah seems to be lenient and says you could pull out bones because it's derech achila.
No, first of all, it's dangerous. It gets stuck in your throat.
Right. They say it's dangerous for older people and children. It seems to be like adults can take care of it. But that's what it seems to be in halacha. But the Chazon Ish says nothing doing. He says, when did we say that you can take pistolet from the ochel b'derech achila? When there's no other way of doing it. I want to eat my banana, right? Right. According to those who say the banana is issue of psolet, right? Well, let's say walnut, whatever it is, right? That has the issue of psolet even for us. They say you can remove the shell. Why? Because you want to get to the food. Because there's no other way to get to the food. Says the Chazon Ish, you cannot say the same thing about the fish bone because you can eat the fish without removing the bone. Take the fish on the bone, eat it, and spit the bone out. Right? There is another way of eating it. He says there is an alternative. Chazon Ish is moided by small fish with small bones, that it might be impossible to eat it that way because it's very small, right? But he says the big fish with big bones, there really is another way of eating. So you should not be able to take the bones from the fish. Says Shabbat Kilchatam. He should put the food into his mouth together with the waste, meaning put the bone with the fish in it, and then pull it out. If he can't do that, he should hold the bones and eat the meat from it. I mean, hold the bone down and pull the fish from it. Okay? If he still can't do that, right? You have a leniency to remove the bones from the fish when you're eating it and not beforehand. So those are the Bir Halacha at the end of the day, that if it's impossible, it's very hard to eat, or it's a sakana, whatever it is, then it's okay to pull the bones away from it. And Chacham Ovadia and the Chazon Ovadia says the same thing. Sorting the bones inside a fish is permitted on Shabbat, as this is the way it is eating. right? Okay, so Chamavad says the same thing, that you could take the bones from the fish because that's derech achila. That's the way you eat it, and it's even though it's sold mitoch. Okay, so you tell me why that would be okay.
No, I'm asking. Can I remove before?
It's eatable.
So, okay, that's one answer. It's edible. What's another answer? We just learned about the fruits. What is it? What did we say? It's mukuber. It's attached. It's directly attached. So anything directly attached is not an issue of bar.
So I take the good part to my plate. I don't
You
want
can do either or. It's not considered bar when it comes to skin. Skin on fish is connected to the fish. Remember?
for me to remove the chicken skin like this, just my hand.
Yep. There's no issue of bar there for us. It's mechuber. It's connected. Okay, it's only if it's mixture, then it's an issue. Okay. Fine. Now, yeah, it's derech achila. Yeah, it's derech achila. That's how you're going to eat it. That's how you eat it. You take away the pit. Yeah, take away the pit. Here. Actually, it's not in our tzurba, but I'll read it from here. It's permissible to remove the pit from a date or an apricot when one wishes to eat the fruit, and does not infringe upon the permission against separating unwanted material from mixture. You don't have to use your mouth to do it. One reviewed it as one eats the date, because it's the manner of achila. Derech achila, and that's okay. So you could remove the pit, no problem. Open an avocado. I think someone asked last time. Opening up the avocado, you can remove the pit.
I have a soup. My daughter doesn't like that. There is a pepper there or onion.
Yeah.
Right there. He removes the pepper
Ah.
from inside the sushi.
That's bar issue. That's a
but
problem.
I take it right away to my plate and eat it.
So she should really ask you, Papa, you want the peppers?
Yeah.
And then it's not an issue of bar anymore. Because now she wants you're going to eat it. So it's not an issue.
I thought give it to me
Yeah.
right away.
So that's not an issue of bar. Right. If she's just removing it and not telling anybody who wants it, she's putting it on her plate, that's an issue of bar. But if someone else wants it, we saw, that's not an issue of bar. Okay. Because it's food for someone. Okay. All right. What about using a peeler? Okay. What about using a peeler? So you're saying I could peel a fruit, right? Ashkenazim will say that the issue with peeling, they say as long as you're eating it right away, right? For us, there are certain fruits that are not bonded to pomegranate. Let's say there was a special peeler for a pomegranate. I don't know if there is, but whatever. Let's say, can you use a peeler or not? Writes that removing a peel that is not eaten by most people is only permitted by hand or by a knife, for example. Peeling eggs, onions, cooked potatoes, bananas, sausages. You're allowed to do it before the meal with a knife, but not with a peeler. Okay? Because you can say a knife is okay, but a peeler is going to be a kli of borer. It's a special designated keli that is done for separating, and you can't have that on Shabbat. It only could be biyad with your hand.
But you're doing with the one, the book. It is.
Very good. She says the Yalkut Yosef.
What's wrong with that?
It says the Yalkut Yosef. Masha Tiyu the Kalbashas Paris of Yerokos, where we said you're allowed to peel, right? Because there's no issue of peeling by certain fruits and vegetables that are bonded. Even with a peeler, right? Because why? It's not peeling. I'm allowed to use a peeler by an apple or by a cucumber because it's not peeling. There is no borer by a cucumber or an apple, so I can use anything I want there. There's no issue of borer there. Okay, but he does write. Someone who's machmer and doesn't use the peeler but uses a knife instead, he gets a special bracha. Okay, so it turns out that it really depends. Is it the fruit or item? Is it borer there? Then I can't use the peeler. If the fruit or item is not an issue of borer, I can use a peeler. Right? So it all depends on that. All right, now we come into our next issue. Okay, let me just see what time it is. So we have 10 minutes. We should be able to get through this. Filtering water on Shabbat or filtering wine on Shabbat. How's this practical? Two issues here. Number one, a lot of people today have inline filters, right? Under the sink. Right? Can I filter?
In the house.
In the house?
Whole house.
Oh, the house is filtered. In addition, at one point, you remember in the 2000s, there was a whole talk about the bugs in the water, the copepods, right?
Yeah, right.
So, right, Rebelsky was Mako. He said it's not an issue, right?
It is not an issue.
But if you say it is an issue, then can you filter on Shabbat? All right, to take away the bugs. Right, so we're going to get through all these ideas over here. Let's go in.
But you know what? Even I think it's not an issue, even though you doing the filtering Shabbat with the, because there's always smaller creature also. So you're not really filtering everything. It's still some of the things going to go.
Let's take a look. Let's take a look. There is a Mishnah in Masechah Shabbat that tells us umesaninin et hayayin besudrin umchafifa mitzrit.
Yeah.
That one may filter wine through cloths and through an Egyptian basket.
You can do it in Shabbat.
Yeah, you can take wine
Oh, wow.
and you can filter
Because
it on
those
Shabbat.
days, the wine was very thick, very thick.
Okay,
With the
we're going to
shmarim.
take a look. I don't know what the case here is. All I know is it says I'm allowed to filter some wine on Shabbat.
With the shmarim.
Okay, and this not with the regular filter, not mishmeret, but rather
Rag.
these
Rag.
sudrin and these Egyptian baskets. All right. Now, there's another Gemara in Masechah Shabbat. That was a Mishnah. There's a Gemara in Shabbat that tells us, "Amar zeiri, noten adam yain tzilul, umayim tzilulin letoch hamishmeret Shabbat." You can take clear wine and clear water and put it through a real strainer on Shabbat.
Right.
A real strainer, really filter it. Okay, and he's not worried about it. But you can't do that with murky liquids that are a little bit not clear. You can't do it. Okay. So
Why you could do
what's
it?
the chiluk?
With the wine?
What's the chiluk? So says the Rashba. The Rashba in source 52 says, all right. The Gemara told me clear I can filter, non-clear I can't filter. What is this case in the Mishnah that says I can use Egyptian baskets or cloth, which is not a filter? It's a shinoi to a filter. No, it's not a real filter.
It's a kind of a filter.
It's a shinoi of a filter. It's a different type of filter. It's not a real filter. So what's this case, says the Rashba? So the Rashba and the Ram break this down to three different cases. Okay? The Rashba says there's three different cases. Case number one is when it's very clear. When it's very clear, wine, and I just want to filter it a little bit more, I can put it through a regular strainer because it's already clear. There's no issue with it. I'm not filtering anything. It's already filtered.
So why are you doing it?
Let's make it a little more. But it's already clear. If it's murky, meaning it's not sediments, but it's a little bit dirty, but I could drink it, right? Then I can use the shinoi. I can use the Egyptian basket. I can use the cloth. I'm not really straining it, right? I'm not really filtering it, okay? And if it has sediments and it's really bad, then I can't do anything with it at all, okay? That's the Rashba. He explains the case in the Mishnah that says you're allowed to do it with the cloth and the Egyptian basket. That's the case of clear wine, but it has something in it, but it's not clear. Okay? Because if it's clear, it's like the Gemara, then you can strain it regularly, right? And if it's bad, you can't use it at all.
So our water, it's clear.
Now, the Ran says, another Yiddi says the same thing. He says the three cases. And he says the reason is because why are you allowed to filter that middle case where it's drinkable, but you want to strain it, but you can't use a real strainer, you can use something in between. Because the reason is you can't really use a real strainer, a real filter, because you will be really filtering. But you're allowed to use something in between because most people would drink it like that. Okay? Since most people would drink it like that, you can use something in between. Okay, so if you take a look at that box on page 50, in summary, clear liquids that most people drink without filtering may be filtered normally in order to make them even clearer. Okay? Clear stuff, you can filter it normally to make it clear. Okay? Murky liquids that most people could drink without filtering may be filtered using an unusual filter. So he's makbid, other people are not, that's fine. He can filter it through an unusual filter. Liquids containing sediments or too murky to be drunk without filtering may not be filtered at all on Shabbat. That's the way the Rashba and the Ran understand the three cases of filtering on Shabbat. What's interesting to note, the Rambam doesn't go with this shot at all. Okay? The Rambam says that you can never use a regular filter on Shabbat. Never. Can't use a regular filter on Shabbat, he says. All right. One may ever filter wine that contains no sediment or clear water with cloths or with Egyptian basket. He says that case in the Gemara where it says you can use cloth or a basket, that's talking about clear. That's talking about clear. That's not talking about murky stuff and other things like that. Because you could never use a regular strain, a regular filter when it comes to liquids. And the Shulchan Aruch in source 55 brings down both shitot, brings down both opinions, and says, "Yainu mayim shehem tzelulim, muter l'sananim b'mishmeret." You're allowed to filter them with a regular filter. That's the Ran, right? That's the Rashba. Aval b'sudar mayim asur mishum libon. You can't put water through it because it's going to clean the cloth, which is an issue of laundering, right? How do you get away with that issue? If you have a designated cloth, that then it wouldn't be considered an issue of laundering. But yain b'shar mashkin muter, but you're allowed to put any other type of drink in there that most people would drink. Akurim, if they're very murky, then you're not allowed to put it through there. So that's the Ran. And then he brings you a Rambam, and the Rambam, the Mishmeres also are filu mayim beyayin tzalul. Even if they're clear, you can never use an actual filter, but you can use a makeshift filter, the cloth, for clear wine, but not for anything that is murky. So Shulchan Aruch brings down both shitot. It seems like the halacha comes out like the Ran and the Rashba. Okay, that what? That technically you can use a regular filter if the water is clear enough anyway. They can use a regular filter. And that's how most people use their inline filters in their houses by the sinks, right? Because we say that New York City's waters, right, is clean. Most developed cities, the water is drinkable. Just like that, tap water, right? In fact, you don't. Most people don't even know. You go to half these restaurants, they give you this this pitcher of water. Where do you think the water's coming from? It's the tap water. They just put it in, they make it cold and give it to you, right? It's drinkable water. So therefore, I wanted. Yeah, they charge you. Okay, they don't charge you for tap water. Usually they don't. Yeah. For bottled water they charge you. But when I say tap water in New York City is pretty drinkable, right? So therefore, even though I wouldn't drink it, but I want to filter it one more time, it's considered clear enough that it could clear again, and therefore you can put it in a regular filter. And that's halakha l'maaseh, what we do. Hey, take a look at page 54. That's what halakha is brought out. Brings out about that. Yes. Right. Very good. Yep. Exactly. It wouldn't be an issue at all. Yep, because it's drinkable. Here, he actually brings it. Permitted to filter juice from its pulp, since it's normal for people to drink orange juice with pulp in it. Right? That is that's the Ran, right? The Ran said if most people are going to drink it, then you can do anything you want with it. Right? Doesn't make a difference. Most people can drink it, right? Just don't want to. Whatever it is, it's drinkable, and that's so to speak. Okay. Now, right, the Bach issues that the Ran is different than the Gemara. Fine. Mishabur says Allah is like the Ran. Although he says you should try to be like the Rambam, lechatchila. The question that we're going to deal with now is the bug issue. Okay, the bug issue. The bugs in the water. So Rav Belsky was very clear. He said, if you think, according to Rav Belsky, bugs in the water in New York City wasn't an issue. It was much drink with those bugs. The bugs weren't a problem. But he says, if you think that the bugs is an issue, right, then you can't filter it on Shabbat. Because it's water that you're not allowed to drink. It's asur. And you can't filter it. Okay. What do you do if you have water that's all infested? How do you drink it? Because you're separating. You're doing bara, but you're separating the bad and the good. What do you mean? There's always water coming through with it. But it's filtering. Filtering is an issue when it comes filtering stuff in liquid. That is the borer by liquid. That's what it is.
Is it a problem because not the filtering itself, filter itself, not the because by the bug you told me that I can take it with the juice. I can take it without the juice.
Right.
The bug is drinking. So the filtering is not the problem.
No, that's not called filtering. That's not called filtering. That's not called filtering.
Right. Because over there you told me it's allowed where there is a bug. We know there's a bug.
To remove the bug because it's nicker. Right.
Here also,
No. Here you're doing a filtering process. The process of filtering is an issue. That is borer by liquid. The filtering process. Correct. Okay, filtering process. So Shulchan Aruch, that's what Rav Belsky says. If you're saying that the bugs are usher in the water, you're not allowed to filter on Shabbat. Rav Shechter Rosh Hashiva of Rebbeinu Yitzchak Elchanan, he writes, he held that the bugs was an issue. You know, you must filter the water. But he says even then you're allowed to filter it on Shabbat. Yeah. And he says, why? He says, first of all, let's say people would drink that water anyway, even if it wasn't a halacha issue. I mean, it might be a halacha issue, people wouldn't care and they would drink it. Is that really considered filtering? Even just a halachic issue. He says it's not true that every cup has copods in it, right? And it's a suffix if you have it or not. And some places can allow you. He has all these different kulas of why it comes to be allowed to what's it called, filter water. And he says there's a lot of even according to those who say the bugs are usher in the water, they would allow you to filter it on Shabbat. Lamaisa, what happens if you're in a place where it has infested waters and you can't filter it? How are you going to drink it? You have nothing else to drink. So he writes over here, and the outside of the Tzurba, there are wrigglers in the water. Wrigglers, okay, wigglers. They're creatures in there. Wigglers. The best course of action is to hold a cloth over the mouth of the cup or the bottle that he wishes to drink from, and to drink through the cloth. Okay, so you're using a shinoi filter, but you're doing it miyad, right away, as you're drinking it, to put it over the cup or the bottle, not through the faucet, right? Over the cup or the bottle, then everyone would agree you're allowed to do that. Now you have to choose a cloth, because otherwise there'll be a problem with laundering. You have to designate the cloth for this, and then that will be okay, and that way you can drink it on Shabbat. If you have infested waters, the cloth over the bottle or the cup that you're drinking from. Directly, yeah, drink it directly. Then that would be okay. That's it's a miyad thing. All right. Just to finish up the Chod Borer, because I want next week to move on to Tochen. I know we're almost in overtime. We are in overtime already.
Oh, I don't know when. Put it in. Come go down. Let me go to the bottom. Drink full on down.
All right. Washing fruit. I would tie washing fruits. You're separating the dirt from the fruit, from the food. Can you do that on Shabbat? So there is a Mishnah that says you're not allowed to soak a dirty vegetable into water on Shabbat. You're not allowed to soak it, right? It's talking about this vetches. You're not allowed to put them in water. Can't rub them. And Shulchan Aruch writes you're not allowed to soak vetches and pour water on them inside a vessel. You can't rub them. And Mishnah Berurah says the same thing applies to potatoes. You can't put them into water. You can't put them in. You're not allowed to place them in water into remove dust and earth them. Page 58, source 65. Look at the Mishnah Berurah, second paragraph on source 65. Same applies to potatoes. One may not place water on them in order to remove the dust and the earth that's on them. Okay? What happens? You're putting the water into water. The earth is pushed down. The waste floats upward. And it's Bora, an issue of Bora. And the Shalos of Tzurba Shevet Levi says you're allowed to wash a fruit from pesticides, but perhaps not from the dirt. Okay, like the Mishnah Berurah said. So Masa, how do we clean our fruits and vegetables on Shabbat? So the Igrot Moshe and Chamovadia say the whole issue is of submerging them in water, soaking them in water. That's the issue. That's what the Mishnah said. That's what the issue is. But to running water, rinsing them under the sink, that's not an issue. Because he said, and Rabbi Moshe brings a proof. You tell me the halacha is you're allowed to wash dishes on Shabbat, right? Just make sure you're washing them correctly. But you're allowed to wash dishes on Shabbat. I'm allowed to even wash them Friday night for the next day. Okay? So 1 second, I'm removing the dirt. So is that borer? I'm removing dirt from my plate. Why isn't that borer? So obviously removing dirt is not an issue. The issue is soaking it. Okay, so if I'm washing the fruit under the faucet, that wouldn't be a problem. Look at the Chazon Nevadia, and he says rinsing or washing fruit or the vegetables from the possessed on the surface. If there's a dirt or dust attached to the fruit, one may cause water from the faucet to fall over them with the intent to eat them immediately. It is borer, you have to do it miyad, right? But you can wash them under the sink, but you cannot soak them into water. You have to soak them, then you wouldn't be able to do it on Shabbat. You have to do it before Shabbat, right? It would be an issue of Shabbat. Okay, we have minyan. Rabbi Hanina Shomer, second Baruch Hu Zagoy, Yisrael Fikar Shabbat Torah Tzot Shneimar, Adonai Haveis Laman Tzidkoi, Edut Torah V'Yadir. Aaron.